The canaries breeding at home. The breeding of canaries at home is an art, a healthy hobby that requires some specialized knowledge to obtain the expected results. Here are some tips for raising canaries at home to be a rewarding experience with the utmost respect and affection for animals. 1. Differentiate and separate males from females outside the breeding season. Firstly, it should be noted that canaries are not sociable birds by nature, so they must remain in separate cages outside the breeding season. If they live together, there can be fierce fighting between males or attacking a female if she rejects them. It is easier to differentiate the males from the females when they are in the breeding season, since during this stage only the males sing and only the females prepare the nest. 2. Preparation of the breeding cage and the nest. Place the breeding cage in a quiet place, away from the frequent passage of people and animals. To ensure the health of the breeding pair and their future offspring, you will need to clean, disinfect and fumigate the cage with specific products. Likewise, all the accessories and tools that are going to be used for the breeding of canaries at home must be perfectly clean. It is very important to have the proper nest. Avoid closed nests as they make it difficult to check eggs. Nests for raising canaries can be made from very different materials, from fabrics made from natural fibers to those made of plastic or metal. The latter are easier to disinfect and can be reused. When the breeding season arrives, the canary females begin to make their nest, collecting the materials they find around them, such as papers, plants or feathers. You can make the task easier by placing a natural, warm and comfortable material at your fingertips so that it is the females themselves who finish making the bed where they will lay their eggs and feed their young. 3. The first meeting. The most appropriate way of approaching the female to the male is through the use of a special cage for breeding canaries that has a vertical division. When the male and the female begin to kiss through the bars, it is time to remove the division panel to begin the procession. It is very important to monitor the behavior of the male. If it begins to peck aggressively at the female, it is necessary to separate them to avoid being injured. After a few hours, you can try again. 4. The laying. Females of canary usually put between 5 and 8 eggs. To ensure that the chicks are all born at the same time, you will have to replace the real eggs with some plastic substitute eggs for breeding canaries. The procedure is very simple. Every time the female canary puts an egg, change it by a plastic one. When the canary finishes spawning, replace all the plastic eggs with the original eggs. Some canary females have difficulty expelling the eggs. If this happens, you should go to the vet as soon as possible. When all the eggs are in the nest, the female begins to hatch. After 3 days, the eggs can be checked by candle to find out if they contain an embryo. If they are empty, you can do a second review within 5 days and, if they are not finally fertilized, you must remove them from the nest to make room for a new set. Do not forget to wash your hands very well or use gloves to manipulate canary eggs and avoid rejections by the female. Hygiene is essential. 5. Care of the young. The pigeons are born about 14 days after the female began to pack all the eggs together. Canaries are born blind, without plumage and without needing more help than the unconditional cares of their parents. To make it easier for you, you just have to get fresh water and a good quality canary food, consisting of a mixture of seeds and vitamins. The most appropriate diet for raising canaries at home is completed with a daily ration of fortifying breeding paste, some fruit or vegetable and a few drops in water of vitamins for birds. 6. The time to leave the nest. Within about 3 weeks, the chicks are developed enough to move into their own cage. When the breeding pair is left alone again in the special cage for breeding canaries, you can change the nest to give way to new litter. A breeding pair well fed with a high-protein diet can produce up to 3 clutches in the same breeding season.